In this amazing innovation series, we're discovering some of the design brilliance that's happening in California right now. Welcome to California by Design. Here at Adobe's San Francisco campus, we've gathered a dynamic group of design industry leaders who are seeking out the very best design innovations in this Californian series.
California has had such a history with design. Our organization has such a history. It's just great to pair the two, celebrate industrial design at a really high level.
Time for our first innovation.
So this next story is really big. It's interplanetary exploration, and it's using new generative manufacturing techniques.
So this is one example of a thing we call generative design, which is a new approach to automatically creating really lightweight designs like this. And this over here is another example. So this is an aircraft seat. And we don't just work with aircraft companies, we also work with things that fly and things that go further out there into space.
You mean like NASA?
Exactly, yeah. NASA JPL is one of the projects we're working on right now, and they're trying to search for life beyond Earth.
Danny, you're the lead designer on the lander.
That's correct, yeah. So I was working with the JPL engineers, and we were trying to capture all of the design goals and constraints and putting them into our software. Things like the manufacturing method, the material, and we take all of that data and we generate a lot of solutions for the problem. So this is one component of the lander, and we've generated several options for it.
I would think that would take a designer usually a lot of time to do that.
Well, you wouldn't. You would come up with just one or two of these solutions. And so by letting the software generate all of the options for you, you're much more capable of making those upfront decisions. And so we generated some solutions for the lander, and then this was the final one.
Wow, that looks so sci-fi.
Yeah, because it's not designed by a human. And it's not symmetric because that's the most optimal shape. So do you want to go see it?
You mean you've made this in person? It's not just on the screen?
Yeah, we manufactured it.
It doesn't look like anything that an engineer would have designed with all these crazy shapes, because the algorithm has said you don't need all that material. But we've got metal parts, we've got, what is this?
This is metal as well, but this one is cast. The legs are CNC machined, and then the internal structure is additive. So the acrylic box is going to be a radiation shield. It's going to be made out of metals. The radiation shield, we will have all of the scientific instruments to do research on a different planet.
So the lighter weight, the more weight they could put actually into this compartment to do the scientific experiments.
Exactly. Because we were leveraging generative, it also means that if the design requirements change, you're able to adapt a lot more quickly and generate a new design faster.
Well, what's the issue if they miss a deadline?
The launch window happens, maybe every 2 to 3 years, because they're literally waiting for the planets to align.
So what do the engineers think of this? Is this a success?
Yeah, they were blown away. Typically they achieve 10% weight reduction. Here we got around 30 to 35%.
Wow, that's a huge savings. And you did all of that with generative design. Generative design is a step towards the AI future. But in this future, artificial intelligence is augmenting human designers, enabling them to try more options and ideas than they would have ever dreamed of.
Well, this is a refrigerator with features reserved for high-end refrigerator up till now, but this is much more flexibility than before in terms of design.
This is your standard side-by-side freestanding refrigerator. This is really what most people in the US are probably pretty familiar with.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to.
But it sticks out from the cabinetry into the kitchen space, and it's a big stainless box.
What you're saying is you've done something a lot better, I'm gonna guess. So where's the fridge? Is this a fridge here?
This is actually two different appliances we're looking at here. We really wanted to make sure the design was cohesive and streamlined across, so when you do pair them together, they look like they're one appliance. We really want to showcase the food here, so we've made the design very minimal and clean, really trying to emphasize the capacity and the visibility into this space. So even things such as the flush integrated diffused lighting, the lighting in the drawers, transparency into all the spaces to really get that even tone across. So why don't we go ahead and close the doors, and I want to show you one more thing, Dan. Okay. push on one of these doors.
Push, just push.
Yeah, just
Okay.
push on it.
Oh, that's nice.
There is
Cool.
a mechanism in there that's pushing the door open as you push on the door. And that's helping the weight of these big, heavy doors, making it more ergonomic. And also for our interior designers, it gives them the option to not have handles on the doors as well.
Integrated appliances always look perfect in a showroom, but how do they apply to the real world? Let's take a look at this brand new house here in LA. So, Jennifer, I hear you're one of the leading home and kitchen designers here in LA. So, is this your latest masterpiece, I see?
It is, Dan. I just completed this last month.
I'm really interested in this layout of your refrigerators over here.
It's something that I found works really well for a lot of families today. This is the freezer unit, and that's the refrigeration unit.
So by breaking up these appliances, you know, fridge, freezer, range, wine cooler, does that give you a lot more freedom as a designer? I would think it would.
Absolutely. I like the option of putting my refrigeration for wine over near the dining room table. I think that's where you want your wine to be.
The handles and the panels are all customizable by the designer and the consumer, so you can choose whatever you want or no handles at all.
Oh my goodness.
And what's so great about this is the designer can really adapt the space to how the consumer really needs to use it. So if you don't need a lot of freezer space, but love your beer and wine, you can have a configuration that actually fits to your needs.
California is renowned for starting and setting trends in so many different fields, including technology, entertainment, automotive. Well, guess what? It's also renowned for setting trends in lifestyle products, including kitchens.
Welcome back to California by Design. Time for our next innovation.
So Bluemonic Hydro, fantastic product. It's a PFD worn on the front. You pull the tag, if you're in the water, you got a life vest.
Innovation doesn't always have to come from a high-powered Silicon Valley consultancy. Sometimes it can come from a husband and wife team with a little bit of passion and a bloody good idea.
Shannon, Kerry, what is your passion?
Our passion is stand-up paddleboarding.
We're paddling 4 to 6 times a week out on the bay. And in addition to being really avid paddlers, we're also teachers and instructors and certified guides.
But there's a slight problem.
How do you carry flotation and hydration while you're out on the water? So we decided to address this problem.
So I took a standard hydration pack like this. It's for hiking, actually.
Right.
And then I took your standard life jacket, inherently buoyant, and I actually wore it upside down around my waist like this for 22 miles.
You're kidding.
No, in a race.
Kerry, let's be honest, this doesn't look great, does it? It looks like a huge diaper, a huge blue diaper.
It was a low moment. But like I said, I had to try something. After wearing this, I was like, man, there just has to be a better way.
This is the Hydro PFD. It features an inflatable life jacket in our compact chest pouch in front.
Oh, hence the pull here?
Exactly. And this is nice and compact so that when you're paddling, it doesn't hinder your movement at all. It's really hard to take a drink while you're paddling. So our 4-point system allows you to route the tube to exactly the right place so that you have instant access.
And let's be honest, it's slightly more attractive than your husband's previous prototype. Is that fair to say, the blue diaper?
I would say that that is fair to say.
So presumably you employed an industrial designer to support you with this?
Actually, no. My husband is an industrial designer, and I come from an extensive cut and sew background. And with our location right here on the water, we can test everything right away. Actually, Paul, have you been stand-up paddleboarding?
No, never actually.
Let's get you out there right now.
If I'm to fall in the water, when is that most likely to happen?
Could happen at any time.
Oh, great.
Well, perhaps I should stick to the drawing board over the paddleboard. What do you think, guys? I am genuinely excited, however, with the blurring or the fusion between different traditional design disciplines. Industrial design meets apparel. And the outcome, breakthrough innovation, just like the Hydro PFD. Wait for me, guys.
Core is a really cool product that allows you to get feedback while you're meditating, because often when you're meditating, you don't know if you're doing this right.
I really love this story. It's the story of a woman who experienced a problem, but then used her own experience and turned it into a positive, creating a clever solution that helps people, all through the power of design.
I started feeling anxiety for the first time several years ago when I was kind of making a lot of transitions in my life, moving, career, grad school, and someone introduced me to meditation at that time. And it really clicked for me at the time, and I was able to take that into grad school to really research the science behind it.
So it sounds like you identified that there was something missing in how we do meditation.
Yeah, first of all, making it a much more active and intentional practice, which is part of why we built a physical device. But we felt like we could really take it to the next level, and a lot of people were feeling like, there's no way to tell if you're doing it right, so to speak, or to see progress. We have an app that goes with it. So we use a lot of really great instructors, as well as some music and soundscapes that are synced with the vibration that you're feeling. And then we back that up with biofeedback data. So giving people a little bit more information about how their body's responding to meditation just gives you a lot of confidence and a lot of awareness about the practice.
When I came to Sarah, she said, so we need to design a product as though Swedish designers went to Japan to make a wellness product for Nike.
That's inspiring, okay.
It's inspiring and challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where'd you take it?
First, we started with trying to find something that was a shape that was familiar, but also something that fit in the hands. We tried to experiment and rapidly iterate through different shapes that would then lead us towards our more final direction. The wood was meant to really help it earn its place at the table. It needs to stand out. It needs to be something that you're almost proud to display.
So you built a physical product, an app, and a physical space in San Francisco.
So the space is all about bringing people together, have the opportunity to share an experience around meditation together. And we found that that's been really powerful, and we can create the sanctuary for people, in the middle of crazy San Francisco. We do 10-minute classes or 30-minute classes. So on your commute or at lunch, you can hit up a 10-minute class and just get that little boost that you need during the workday even.
Oh, that's quite nice.
When we're teaching classes, I feel the same vibrations that the class feels. We're all synced up together. So it's very easy for me to notice this might be a time where people's minds have wandered. Let's bring it back to the vibrations. So it's really connected instructor and class together into one.
So this is an innovation that's immersive and physical. And what's cool is you can tap in it at any level, whether it's at home or in a community experience. What a treat to get so calm in the middle of the working day.
Welcome back to California ByDesign.
In addition to being a designer, I'm a songwriter, and when you're in that creative process, you're chasing that idea, you're picking up and putting down your instruments, and so having a guitar stand like this that gives you that peace of mind is a real innovation.
This place in NoHo, just outside of Hollywood, might not look like much, but there's a whole lot of special in the music game that's been going on for decades. And now, in one of these big white boxes, there's a new bar being set.
This guitar was custom made for me by this company, LSL Instruments. To me, it's priceless. It's really one of my babies. You can imagine, buying a really beautiful guitar like this, only to have the salesman sell you a $10 stand that isn't safe and potentially damage the guitar severely. So what we've created here with our Starfish stand is we have a patented 5-leg footprint design, which makes the stand 100% more stable than anything else. So we use cold-rolled steel, high-grade ABS, vinyl-free neoprene, and then all contact points for the instrument are coated in a material called TPE, which is a material that's 100% safe for any instrument finish, and we feel this is the safest place for your instrument to be. But I want to do an experiment, so why don't you pick out any one of my guitars on the wall?
How is this one?
That's fine, that's just it's one of my favorite guitars.
Okay.
So we've been working in the music industry for decades now, and eventually we decided to do our own line of guitars. We have these very expensive guitars, and we're backstage working with musicians and finding that the guitars are getting knocked over. And I looked at that and said, You know, if you have a 3-leg stool, it's pretty easy to fall over. That's why eventually chairs got 5 legs. Just made perfect sense. I don't know why no one else had ever done it.
This is one of the premier rehearsal facilities in Los Angeles for bands.
Wow, who rehearses in here?
Really some of the biggest bands in rock and roll.
Can I guess?
I'd rather you didn't. Go ahead and put the guitar in there, strap it in. This is gonna get me nervous, but why don't you go ahead and give it a push?
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean like a real push.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot tell you how many countless musicians have had their instruments destroyed or severely damaged because of that. Now over here, we have the Starfish stand with my prized guitar and
Oh, careful. Oh, careful.
but our innovative instrument stand was designed to be 100% more stable. Now over here we have the Starfish Plus, which utilizes a gravity-activated headlock design and the weight of the instrument to lock the instrument in as safety gates.
Wow, you're a musician. How do you feel about this stand?
The stands are great. You know, I always get stressed out with my guitars tipping over behind me. Some of them mean a lot to me. It doesn't matter what the cost of the guitar is. Your babies are your babies.
In this series, we've introduced the Planet Innovation Bright Award. Sam Lanyon will select an innovator from the series for entry into the PI Bright program, which will assist them in building their commercial and technical strategies and connect them with global partners.
The winner receives access to Planet Innovation's award-winning Bright program. We're going to work alongside that business to help them accelerate into the US market.
Welcome back to California ByDesign here at the Adobe campus in San Francisco.
Time for our next innovation.
Modular backpacks are a tricky equation, but the Ventir has a really unique approach that caught my attention.
Sometimes a design seemingly comes out of nowhere. You just have a cool idea and you want to execute on it. But more often than not, design is about solving a real-world problem that all of us have.
During my time at university, I was balancing going to lectures, an internship in Midtown Manhattan, and training for my first half marathon.
Wow.
And many days, I'd be carrying 3 or 4 bags hanging from my body, 1 bag for each activity.
Yeah, that's quite a pile there.
So Enzo approached me with a problem. We spent about 2 months just trying to make sure we are looking at what's in the market and whether or not there's any gaps that we could fill. One day I was just sitting down and it hit me, you know, we just had to go modular. It conforms to the way you live your life and it makes everything a lot more easy.
Dan, Aki, I am a little skeptical about this idea of a modular backpack.
You know, we were too, because modularity doesn't necessarily mean ease of use.
Right.
We kind of landed on this idea of being able to stack other units, additional storage capacity on the top of like a core bag.
The problem is this is very expensive and very complicated.
Yeah, this is hard to get undone, okay.
Yeah, so we tried to make it
Oh,
very
look at that, it's really easy.
clean.
But you know, there was another problem. There was the joinery in between meant that there was a big hole through, right? So at this point, we said, stop. Let's go back to the drawing board.
For this time, we tried simplest solution using zipper.
Imagine this is a gym bag and you've got it stuffed chock full and this has your notebook and other items in it.
It's heavy,
and
it's
you
bulky.
try to zip these two together, they're pulling.
Right.
So what we tried here is to attach this flap. This creates the space for your hand
I see.
to grab.
We wanted to give focus to this area, so we actually branded this section and identified each one of the compartments. So basic, core, gym, travel.
I get it. I've got all my pieces here. I can take my core, my gym bag, I'm ready to go. I'm starting to believe.
Yeah, so that's all fine and well in the design studio, but let's test this thing out in the real world.
So I already have my running shoes in the gym compartment where I can also place my internship shoes. It's separate from the clothes compartment. On days when I don't need to train for a half marathon, I can essentially place the basic pack to the core module.
Wow, and it zips right up there nice and easy. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of luggage. You know, I really think you guys are onto something here. It's really great to see the entrepreneurial spirit in action. And what this product does is it solves the need that so many of us have. And you know what I just learned too is that this product is made out of recycled plastic bottles. I can't wait to see how these guys do on the Kickstarter campaign. I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal success.
We're nearly ready to announce which innovations from this episode have the judges chosen to go through to our best of the best final later in the series. But first, a Design International spotlight. What's your best guess on what this is? A tea strainer, perhaps? 2 gutter guards to prevent your drains from blocking? Truth be known, I'm not sure myself. But what I do know is that this humble product is about to revolutionize every barbecue in the land. Grilling Gary, what a beautiful day here in Palo Alto. Help me out, what's this?
That's a Blazaball. Let me show you what it does. I'm gonna make some lunch for us today, and traditionally, what you have to do for that is to fill your grill with charcoal. And then you take these little fire starters and you put them on top. However, it takes a long time and sometimes the charcoal doesn't take.
So why don't we just stick the fire starters underneath?
Well, we can. However, once I put this charcoal on top, it smothers the flame. And that's why I'm forced to put them on top. That's really where the Blazaball comes in. Take these 3 fire starters and put them inside that Blazaball.
Okay.
And you take that Blazaball, set it in here. In about 15 seconds, we're gonna have a flame. Once your flame starts, just dump the charcoal on top.
It's just as Mother Nature intended, right? You've got the air, you've got the fuel, and you've got the fire beneath the coals.
Yes, and we can close this up and be confident that this fire is fully taken. Let's go get some sausages.
Sounds good to me.
What's going on, Griller Gary?
I'm gonna show you that the big green egg, that was easy. I'm gonna use that Blazaball and this wet wood to make a fire.
That's not gonna work.
Let's do it. Start that bad boy.
What about the kindling?
We don't need kindling, man.
Okay, I'm yet to be convinced.
Well, we're gonna start a fire and I'm gonna prove it to you.
I can see it.
You can already smell it, right?
Yeah, right. It worked.
That's the power of Blazaball.
Okay, I do sit corrected. We have a beautiful roaring fire. Serge, Nancy, you're the innovators behind this concept, correct?
Yes, we are.
Tell me about it.
Well, I had enough of the fire collapsing on the fire starter. So Nancy and I innovated just a ball that we just made out of the back shed, and it worked really well. And then that's when we went to a local industrial designer and came up with a Blazaball.
And now you're bringing it to California. Very exciting.
We certainly are. We had a great response back home, and we thought that California is so similar to Australia that you guys would love it here too. And we've been lucky enough to team up with Grilling Gary and Smokeware. We've got some great distributors here, so great times ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be smoking.
Salute. Cheers. It's time to announce which innovations from this episode have made it through to our best of the best final later in the series.
The judges have selected the Space Exploration Lander because the process of innovation was just as innovative as the product itself. And the Core Meditation Trainer because the product inspires a cultural movement.
That means there's just 2 slots left now for our best of the best final later in the series. The pressure is on. Join us again next time for more innovations on California by Design.
To watch this episode again and others in the series, and to cast your vote in the People's Choice Award, go to CaliforniaByDesign.com.